Right now, somewhere, a stranger in a lab coat is telling someone to keep pressing a button, and that someone keeps pressing it. Not because they're cruel, not because they're broken, because you would too. That's not an insult. It's a fact, proven again and again in rooms full of ordinary people who thought they were the good ones. The real answer to why is far stranger than you think. 5 experiments changed how psychologists understood you. All 5 were eventually banned, restricted, or buried under new ethics laws. Here is where that switch was found. Start in 1961 at Yale University. Stanley Milgram wants to understand how ordinary citizens could participate in mass atrocity. Were they monsters, or just following orders? Milgram built a fake shock machine, with switches labeled all the way to one marked simply, danger. Volunteers were told to punish a stranger for wrong answers. There was no real shock. But they didn't know that. They heard screaming through the wall. They kept flipping switches anyway, because a man beside them calmly said 4 words. The experiment must continue. 65% went all the way to maximum. Milgram found how quickly people hand their judgment to someone else the second an authority says it's fine. 10 years later, Philip Zimbardo at Stanford University wondered what happens when ordinary people are handed power over other ordinary people. He built a fake prison in a university basement. College students, randomly assigned, became guards or prisoners. Within days, guards were forcing humiliating tasks on prisoners for no reason at all, simply because they could. The 2-week study was shut down after 6 days when Zimbardo's own girlfriend walked into the basement and told him it needed to stop. He later admitted he hadn't just been observing. He'd started acting like a warden himself. The role had taken over the person wearing it. Go back further, to 1920. John B. Watson wanted to know if fear is born or built. He found a calm baby, known to history as Little Albert. Watson introduced a loud, frightening noise every time he showed Albert a white rat. Within weeks, the rat alone was enough to make Albert cry and try to crawl away. Worse, the fear spread to a rabbit, a dog, even a Santa Claus mask. Watson never reversed it. Fear, it turns out, isn't always something you're born carrying. Sometimes it's installed, one pairing at a time. Now something harder to watch. In the 1950s, Harry Harlow wanted to understand the bond between mother and child. He took infant monkeys from their real mothers and gave them 2 fakes. One made of bare wire, holding milk. One made of soft cloth, offering no food at all. The infants fed quickly at the wire mother, then rushed straight back to cling to the cloth one for comfort. Food wasn't what they needed most. Touch was. Monkeys raised without real contact grew up anxious and often unable to properly parent their own offspring later. Last, in 1939, a graduate student named Wendell Johnson ran an experiment so troubling it stayed hidden for over 60 years. He wanted to know if stuttering could be caused, not just inherited. He took orphaned children who spoke normally and split them in 2. One group got encouragement. The other was constantly told they had a stuttering problem, even when they didn't. Several of those children developed real speech problems that lasted the rest of their lives, simply from being told over and over that something was wrong. It became known as the monster study, and decades later, the University of Iowa issued a formal apology to the survivors. All 5 studies were eventually restricted or banned. Universities built ethics boards specifically because of what happened in these rooms. But here's the part most people miss. The rules changed. The human brain didn't. You still hand responsibility to authority the second someone official tells you it's fine. You still slip into a role the moment you're given a badge or a title. You still carry fears your logical mind never approved. You still need real connection more than convenience. And you can still be talked into believing something is wrong with you just by hearing it enough times. So the next time you follow an instruction without question, because someone above you said so. The next time an old fear flares up for no logical reason at all, remember where that switch was first discovered. Not in a monster, in a volunteer, sitting in a chair, just like you.